To ask why we fight is to ask why the leaves fall. It is in their nature. Perhaps there is a better question. Why do we fight? To protect home and family. To preserve balance and bring harmony. For my kind, the true question is, what is worth fighting for?
So, it was a bear?
In a hat!
We fight together, we drink together, and we pass out together. Hello, everyone. For those of you tuning in, welcome to something that I wasn't really sure I was going to do, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought this was a good opportunity to actually go ahead and do this. This is going to be I guess you could call this a quest-focused playthrough of Pandaria Remix. It's essentially us going through the expansion of Mists of Pandaria In fact, there's incentive for players to actually go ahead and do all the quests in Mesa Pandaria for extra rewards. I'm sure at this point a lot of you are probably familiar with how Pandaria Remix works in terms of what you get, what you can obtain, and I've already been doing a decent amount. Not a whole bunch, but some. As you can see, I already have a level 70 character that I've been playing Pandaria Remix with, that I've already gotten to 70. I've already done a number of the things to unlock certain things that I felt would help benefit the two characters that we're going to be doing. Because, yes, in order to be able to do this properly, I'm actually going to be doing what I did back in BFA, because when you think about it, since Burning Crusade, there has been a focus from Blizzard to have two halves of a story. One on each faction. Going back to the Burning Crusade, all the way through BFA, quests were usually different for you, for your experience, based on what faction you were playing. If you were playing Horde, you had only Horde-only quests in certain zones that were Horde-only, that you couldn't get if you were Alliance, and vice versa. And it was extremely apparent to me when I did this for BFA. Remember, I did 2 separate playthroughs for BFA, one on the Horde, one on the Alliance. Now, the Horde one is mixed into my main playthrough of my Shaman, where he was kind of leveling from BC onwards, but I kind of worked it in that way. And then I did a separate playthrough on the Alliance side of BFA, and that was where it really became clear to me that if you want the entire story of what they're trying to tell you, you have to play both sides. And it's no different in Mesa Pandaria. So because of that, in order to try and do this, because I started to do this a bit back in the day, I mentioned my main playthrough where I was leveling my Shaman. I did a bit showing some of the questing in Pandaria, but back then I didn't really know anything. Like, I was stepping into Pandaria and I knew nothing about it, really. Like, because this was where I was still learning the game. I was still kind of like getting exposed to these things for the first time. So there's not a lot that I knew back then that I know now, where I feel like I could be able to present the story to you in a better way, especially since this is an opportunity. Now, I've only got 73 days to pull this off on both sides, because we are going to be doing this on the Horde side with this character, and on the Alliance side with this character. Yes, I'm playing 2 Demon Hunters. Shut up. Look, I figured to myself, if I'm going to be doing this twice, I want to do this on a class I know how to play, and I have fun playing. And it's not that I don't have fun playing the other classes, or that I don't know how to play them, but let's just say that, especially when I've been trying to work on main content, I haven't been able to get as much out of other classes as I have my Demon Hunter. And I know that some people are going to probably start breaking out those stupid stereotypes. If I see any stereotypical statements in the comments about how, oh, this means I'm dumb or I have low IQ and all that stuff I hear about people who main Demon Hunters, you're probably going to get banned. I'm just putting that out there. I'm getting really sick and tired of hearing all these stereotypical statements from people about the lack of intelligence that Demon Hunter players of this game have. As you can see, I don't just play a Demon Hunter. And this is just my Horde characters on this server, my main server. But jeez, I get so sick of it. Anyways, so I'm wanting to do this partly for another reason, because to this day, Pandaria still gets mocked and made fun of, and it just hurts because, well, I love Pandaria. Like, it's one of those expansions that it makes me feel. You know, like just that cinematic alone we just watched. That was basically Symbolism the trailer. And I got a little emotional at the end there, hearing Chen talk about what is worth fighting for. You know, like that stuff in Pandaria, and it really gets, you know, it happens throughout the story. If you never really did the story, the questing in Pandaria, it's an experience. And, you know, while I haven't actually finished all that on my account, like, I was able to, like, look up and see other things, and I was just like, wow, you know? But I never got to show it all on camera on both sides. And there's incentive for me to do this on both sides, by the way. Believe it or not, there's exclusive rewards based on, like, for example, If you have an Alliance character, you can get an exclusive toy having to do with the Theramore, which is another thing I've never shown. I've never shown the scenarios from Pandaria on camera, which I really like. Now, I will admit, I would probably have to do this on my main characters as opposed to the Time Runner characters, just because of the capability to not only go in and basically solo all of them, not because I'm wanting to necessarily one-shot everything, but because I'm wanting to go at my own pace and take my time and showcase as much of it as I can. And I can't really do that when there's other players just like, quick, we gotta finish this as fast as possible because I have other stuff to do. Let's go, let's finish this and get done. And that's always going to be the case whenever you go into like an event with lots of other players, because unfortunately other players just kind of ruin that kind of experience if that's what you're wanting to show other people or experience yourself. I've said this before, sometimes going back and soloing those things is our opportunity to actually experience those things without other players ruining it for us. It's one of the reasons why the news that they are adding a story mode to raids in War Within has me so excited, because that's something I've been wanting forever. They have that in other games like Star Wars The Old Republic. They have stuff like that in Guild Wars. That's what I wanted LFR to be. I wanted it to basically be story mode, allowing us to be able to go in and just experience those from the story perspective. And I know some people complained about that because they think it destroys the sanctity of what the mystique of raiding and all that. I'm like, that's what the regular raiding is for, and not everybody participates in that. And if you're wanting everyone to participate in that, you're forcing people to do stuff that they don't want to do. And I'm not okay with that. It's like the Plunderstorm thing. It's a lot of PvP stuff, which people like me do not want to do. And I messed with it once, and then I never went back because I didn't care enough to want to continue doing that, Even though there were rewards there, I didn't care about those rewards enough to put myself through constant PvP, Which is what you had to do in that. It's not like I could just ignore the other players and kill the other things that were on the map. You had to PvP. And forcing other people to do stuff they don't want to do is something I'm not okay with. I know some people say, oh, you're pushing them out of their comfort zone. That's different. That's a different thing. Like, the thing is, you also have to get their willingness and consent. Doing it when they are vehemently against it is not okay to me. But that's a separate discussion, I'm sure. So, this is going to be one of those where I'm letting you guys know that I'm probably going to be separating these as two separate playlists, where I show the Alliance side of things on this character and the Horde side of things on this character, because you basically have to see both halves of the story in order to understand fully what's going on, especially with some of the other characters and such. Like, the stuff involving Jaina has to be seen by both sides in order to fully understand what she was going through at that time. If you see it through just the Horde side, you get how do I say this? You get a perception of her in this regard of what's happening to her inaccurately. You have to see the other side in order to fully get it and understand it. That's why some people have tried to make some compilation videos where they try to edit it in a way to show both sides of the story in one cohesive way. Now, I'm not going to be able to really do that myself. I don't have the means or capability of doing that. But I'm going to mainly just kind of separate these into two separate ways that you can be able to see both halves. Whether or not you want to go back and forth, I will try to see if I can talk about how much these can have symmetry with each other, but it's going to be a little tough. So, if you're interested in seeing the quests of the zones of Pandaria, welcome. If you're wanting to see some other stuff, you're probably in the wrong place. I'm just letting you guys know up front. This is a place, a playthrough set of videos where it's about me showing off the story and the quests, talking about the various different aspects of the lore and the characters as we continue, because Pandaria gave us so much extra lore, especially background. It fleshed out so much of the background lore about, fleshed out the world and the setting, gave us all this extra lore about the Titans and other characterization and all these things. It gave us so much of this, and yet to this day, the only thing that people ever bring up is the Kung Fu Panda garbage. I'm sorry if that's harsh, but I know some people say it just as a little joke, but I just get a little tired of it because people won't shut up about it. Like, anytime I hear somebody say Panda Land or pandas, whatever, I know they're saying it in a very jokingly manner. And it's almost a resistance thing, I feel, to have to constantly refer to them as Pandarans or refer to the place as Pandaria, because I don't want to join in that, because unlike other people, I love this expansion, I love the Pandarans, and I just get really sick of the constant mockery, So, this is going to be if you love Pandaria like I do, and you want to enjoy, like, the story and the quests, then feel free to join me. If not, you can go ahead and tune out. I'm not going to be upset about it. If you decide to stick around and, I don't know, be a jerk or something, then that's where we're going to have an issue. But, anyways. So, before we really get into Pandaria, we have a interesting setup here. And I wasn't really sure how this was going to work until I made my first character here. So, Pandaria Remix is not necessarily us... How do I say this? We're not... there's an in-lore reason why this is happening. Especially if you have followed the events of Dragonflight. Because, as you can see, we're surrounded by the Infinite Dragonflight. Now, you might be going, wait a minute, aren't the Infinite Dragonflight the bad guys? They were, but because of recent events in Dragonflight, especially with this particular Infinite Dragon, Eternus, things have changed. If you saw me do the quest where Chromie and Nozdormu essentially reached out to Eternus to kind of mend things between the Bronze and Infinite Dragonflights, because Eternus didn't understand why they couldn't just go to certain points in time and fix things that happened a certain way. And as we saw when we tried, it can't always be fixed because something else bad could happen. It's why the Bronze Dragonflight does what they do. So Eternus really had an eye-opening experience when that did happen, and came to accept why the Bronze Dragonflight does what they do. And it's kind of, I guess, put them sort of on friendly terms for the time being, sort of like a truce. I don't think they're really good guys anymore at this point, even though they are, their name plates are green, so they are friendly. I guess it's kind of we are allies, and hopefully we can become more than that, but for now, we'll wait and see. And I think the explanation here is that the Infinite were so focused on their goal with Murazond and such, that perhaps they missed out on other things, and maybe they want to go back and actually experience or check out some things they missed out on.
Our paths cross at last.
So, Eternus, why is the Infinite Dragonflight here? When Nozdormu showed me that my sister's death was her choice, her sacrifice, it made me question the rest of the true timeline. What other moments of sorrow or anger had life-saving consequences? When the mists of Pandaria parted... Let me turn the audio back up. There we go. When the mists of Pandaria parted, the Horde and the Alliance brought their conflict to these shores and awoke a slumbering evil. But perhaps it was all necessary to bring about a brighter future. It's time for us to reflect on the past with a new perspective, and that's why I'm here, along with those of the Infinite Dragonflight whom I could convince to join me. So, does this mean that you believe in the true timeline now? I remain skeptical of Nozdormu's faith in it, but I am willing to give his wisdom the benefit of the doubt. Help us or leave us to our work. Well, what's my mission here? Relive this timeline so that we may observe its events from a new perspective. We'll be watching you. What will be different? We'll equip you with an artifact of the infinite, a cloak that adapts and changes as you do. Nozdormu is opposed to altering the past, but we are not doing so, are we? The events that transpire here will always remain the same. It's you who will be different. Alright, so yeah, that's the in-lore explanation as to why this is happening. They are here to observe things they didn't really pay attention to get a better understanding about why this true timeline is the way it is. And they're basically letting us relive the events the way they happened, and they're just going to be watching us. Now, this is funny with me doing this as a demon hunter because technically demon hunters weren't actually here in the true timeline because they were still in the Vault of the Wardens locked up. Remember, that was established in the Demon Hunter starting zone that back in BC, they came back to the Black Temple and were imprisoned in the vault, along with the corpse of Illidan, and they didn't get woken up until Legion. So technically, Demon Hunters are not supposed to be here, but that's a whole separate discussion. I think, I guess an in-lore explanation could be the infinite flights are allowing the Demon Hunters to experience the events of this, even though they technically weren't here, but they're not changing things. They're just getting to let them experience it as if they were here during then. Does that make sense? I know, we're getting into Back to the Future discussion, time-traveling discussions here. I know, that's kind of like, a lot of people just go, oh gosh, my head, and I totally understand. So, I also love that because I've already done this on one character, it's got the, haven't we done this before? And we skipped the tutorial and received the cloak. I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to showcase the story, but at least now you guys have an understanding as to why this is an in-lore reason explanation as to why this is all happening. Your timing is serendipitous. I require your assistance. Not all the Infinites have seen what Nozdormu has shown me. Not all would agree even if they had. Arceus is one such detractor. He must be eliminated.
Question everything.
So earlier she said, another rift is sealed, now for the one who is opening them. Our efforts cannot continue until Arceus is dealt with. This is going to be a little weird because I don't have a number of things that I usually have these days. Oh, Blizzard, make auto loot on by default, please. There's other notable differences between Pandaria Remix compared to full-on retail, such as there's no auction house, and there's a lot of other things that are just simply not here.
Time is set in sand.
So this is an empty spool of temporal threads previously used to hold the fabric of time. The other infinites jeopardize our mission. We cannot let them wreak havoc on the timeways. Reckless! They've unraveled the threads of time!
We will.
Alright, take this spool to Moritari. Perhaps she can make sense of this relic.
Remember,
we cannot allow the other infinites to unravel the timeway. Moritari will know what to do. I like how we're getting to know more about these infinite dragons that we have fought for so long and now they're actually allies now during this event. And so, following the procedures, I have demonstrated that you can control the anomalies with minimal risk of injury or death. Wow, incredible! Will this lecture be preserved in the archives? I like how there are actual scholars here, like, as if they're all being educated about these events. The ones who have joined with Eternus, anyway.
You have arrived.
Well, what do we have here? Ah, this artifact is absolutely radiating with temporal power. Aha! Even more brilliant than I thought. Assimilating the latent temporal signatures of unraveling casualties. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Allow me to explain.
This guy.
The other infinites are not as judicious in their treatment of the timeline. They have rather torn through time in their reckless opposition to our efforts. Though we cannot simply mend the timeways, we may yet repurpose its loose threads. Reclaim the threads of time from our enemies, and we shall weave you a cloak worthy of the infinite dragonflight.
Be mindful of your time, hero. Sans be.
Hold on, what was that other thing she says?
What time?
When studying the timelines, we infinite dragons usually seek to change things for the better, but Nozdormu has told us to leave these events as they were. Luckily, he didn't say anything about changing your part in them. Wink. We will always find a way to conduct proper research.
Always a
These
pleasure.
temporal anomalies are getting out of control. Normally our research does not unravel the timeline this much. I suspect the other infinites are to blame. Use this chronostabilizer to zip up the frayed rifts. Be aware, this may briefly create even more anomalies. I trust you know how to handle them.
This has been time well spent.
I have an idea for how to use the relic you found, but first we must clean up this mess. You got it. So I hope you get used to watching Demon Hunter gameplay, because like I said, we're doing a Demon Hunter for both the Horde and the Alliance, and I'll try to see if I can kind of change up the appearance of them as we go through. Like, for now I went with like the red anima siphoning swords from Shadowlands, because I really like these swords. I still want to get the other ones I don't have. Like, I don't have the green one, I don't have the blue one, and I don't have the yellow one, because let's be honest, we look at these and we're like, lightsabers! Even though they're obviously technically not, but, you know, you get what I mean. Like, getting the red one, I was just like, yes! Sith! Because let's be honest, for those of us who have played Star Wars The Old Republic, haven't we not felt that same way? I know, those of you who have played the game, you know what I'm talking about. We care very much for how our lightsabers are, for those of us who, of course, play Jedi or Sith. And I feel like a lot of us here would be absolutely no different, you know. Gosh, I feel so slow. I say that because just wait till you see how fast you can get with the cloak once you get some of the like enhancements that your character can get with the cloak, as well as some of the other things. I'll try to showcase a number of things that Pandaria Remix offers when it comes to the gameplay, and things that you can interact with that are obviously very, very different compared to, say, you know, regular retail. It's a very different experience. Hold on. Since I'm here, let's grab the Flight Master. By the way, in case you're wondering, there's a number of things you actually cannot utilize here. And since we are, hold on, since we are with the Infinite Dragons, let me go ahead and grab a couple of these here. My Infinite Time Reaver, and, as of last night, my Infinite Armordon. I was able to get my Keystone Master for this season last night. I like how this looks. I like the infinite color style, the black and white color scheme, so I'm very happy I was able to get this mount. Of course, getting the Infinite Time Reaver was something I was, like, ecstatic about when I got it long ago. So, anyways.
As always, on time. Pleasant spending time.
The name of this quest is Weave It to Me. Get it?
Until next
Excellent.
time.
Now we just need something to hold them together.
Pleasant spending time with you.
Also, is that Anna's voice actress? Not my problem. Oh my gosh, they brought the puns out for this. Change begets change. Such is the way of the infinites. It's our duty to choose which changes are worth preserving. By the way, if you're wondering what this is the main currency of this event. Bronze. And as you can see, you can have a cap of 2 million bronze. 2 million bronze. Thank you, Dr. Evil. And you'll be seeing it a lot. It's basically the main thing you'll be looting from basically everything. There's not a lot of... There's hardly any, if not any, junk items at all in this event. There are only very specific things that will drop. Thank you, Ordos. That has some kind of use. Whether it's a gem, whether it's bronze, whether it's a piece of gear, or whether it's a scroll that lets you access things that you normally wouldn't access. In fact, you'll get to do things with your class that you normally would not get to do. Like, I could have things that other classes have. Like, I could have Stampeding Roar as a Demon Hunter, or Blink. Now, I've got Fell Rush, but you get what I mean. You get access to things you normally would not have on your class, which is one of the things that makes Remix such an interesting, unique experience.
Fair skies and strong winds.
Horos, our antiquities collector, should have a chrono badge that you can use to fasten together the temporal threads you collected. With the chrono badge, Momentous can craft the threads into a powerful cloak for you to wear. Now, for the moment, it's not showing the stats. What I'm hoping is that it's actually going to replicate the stats that I already have on my main character, because I've heard that can be the case, but but maybe I misunderstood. We'll have to wait and see. This is the first time I'm doing this on an alt. I only did this once on my main character. Horus can supply you with a chrono badge. He always has something interesting in stock. With enough time and bronze, I can get you anything you need. Anything you don't need, we can scrap.
There is more than one way to solve any problem.
So as you can see, there's a lot of things you can get with bronze. You can get mounts. You can get toys. There's a lot of things you can get. For now, we're just going to get the badge so we can be able to, of course, get our cloak. And now, forge the artifact.
Your truth.
Can I? Ha! This will only take a moment. There. Go in good time. May you forge your own future. Get ready for a lot of time puns and lines and jokes and
It is
such.
an honor, champion.
That cloak will be able to absorb loose threads of time, adding them to its own magic. The prospect of infinite power is enticing, is it not? Just don't let it go to your head. Let it go to your cloak instead.
Be mindful.
Wonderful.
Of your time.
Try this on. With the temporal magic in this cloak, you'll be able to see and collect the scattered threads of time. There's no limit to how many you can have. The possibilities are infinite. Actually, that's technically not true, as some players discovered, and then Blizzard increased the found and discovered cap of those things. But that's a little inside joke.
Always a pleasure.
Once you don your cloak, you'll be able to find the threads on any enemy. The cloak will naturally absorb those threads, permanently increasing its power. Try collecting a thread from the nearby infinite ravagers.
Until next time.
Don't forget to equip the cloak. It can't empower you if you're not wearing it. Uh-huh. Interesting. So, this doesn't quite reflect the stats that my other character has. It looks like it's like brand new, which is not what I thought how it worked, but I guess I was misinterpreting or misunderstanding how this works. So, but anyways. As you can see, when you start off, you get a bunch of extra stats for agility, because I'm a demon hunter, stamina, no secondary stats, more versatility and more XP, though trust me, those stats are going to grow very much. A lot. You can also probably see I've already have been able to hit really, really hard because of the cloak.
It is good to see you here. Sans be in
You'll find similar threads everywhere, from slain foes to looted treasures. We have one last anomaly to deal with here before we can study the history of Pandaria. Help us stabilize the timeway and secure our mission.
Until next time.
Infinites, to me! We cannot let this wound fester! Eratus the Unwoven Paradox. You warp the fabric of time itself! You think yourselves clever, refusing... Wow, I almost one-shot the guy. Refusing to change the original timeline, but finding loopholes in your mortal champions? The threads fray! You know not what echoes from your prying! Go, we'll take it from here.
Hof Aldan Shi.
Thank you for your aid in battle. I am sure Turnus will have need of you yet.
Be mindful of your time, hero.
Alright. Oh, apparently that completed the campaign. So here are two specific things that you get for this event. An Extract Gem ability, and a Unraveling Sands, which will let you get rid of any unwanted items into bronze. Trust me, you'll be using these a lot. And now is when we step into Pandaria itself. Our operations here are secure, for now anyway. It is time for you to begin your journey to the past so that we may observe how history unfolded. Speak with Eternus if you have any final questions about our mission. She can show you how these events began. This will unlock Group Finder so you can start doing dungeons and scenarios and such.
Sans be in your favor.
Time is
Alright,
set in
so
sand,
now
not stone.
we get to see the cutscene that played when we started the Horde side of events for Pandaria. But we'll actually go ahead and do that next time. Stay tuned.